What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Run In Podcast. I am your host, Big Mike. And if you don't know what the Run In Podcast is, I don't blame you. This is the first ever episode. We are just now coming in. We are going to be a wrestling podcast. I am a huge wrestling fan. Have been since I was a kid. Watched it pretty much all my life. I love AEW, WWE, NXT, TNA. I love it all. Love all wrestling. Obviously, not everything's great about it. We'll get into that a lot as we go through. But I just wanted to kind of come in and introduce myself and kind of let you go into my mind a little bit as we are going to go over the NXT Battleground that just happened yesterday. It is currently Monday, June 10th. We just had Battleground last night from the UFC arena in Las Vegas. It was a really good show. We'll go over that here in just a second. But please, as I said, this is brand new. I am a little nervous, so if I fumble, I apologize. I promise as we do this, I'll get better. The show will get better. We'll have more graphics. We'll do a lot more stuff as I learn and learn how to get into this. I want to bring you guys some good content. So with that, I will make a couple of promises. I will always be honest with you guys with my opinion, whether it be positive or negative. Because not everything in wrestling is going to be great. I'm not going to like everything. That doesn't necessarily mean that I think it's going to be horrible. But I will give you my honest opinion on everything that I can in wrestling, no matter the brand, no matter the show, no matter the match. And feel free to ask. If I don't talk about something that you guys like, that you want to see, make sure you follow me at _Big Mike 27 on all socials, whether it be here on YouTube, on X, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. It's _ Big Mike 27. I love to have comments. Let me know how I'm doing. Because again, we're going to learn on this on the fly. We're going to do it all together. So I'm going to try to make the best show for you guys that I can. And I can't do that without your feedback. Obviously, once we hit the point now, I think make sure you go subscribe on YouTube, because I think we're at like 13 or 14 subscribers at the moment we're recording this. So once we get to 50, I don't know why that's just a round number, they'll let me go live on this. We'll do live shows. We'll do some live reactions after shows just to get everybody's feedback on different things, especially PLEs. I love the PLEs because obviously they're huge shows. Everybody kind of goes in there as you go. But without further ado, let's get into NXT Battleground. Last night, again, good show, 6 matches, good card, some new champions. We will go through the card match by match, let you know what I thought about it, if I thought the right winner was there. Spoiler, I don't think all of them are. And go through what I think may happen in the future going forward. So without further ado, we will look at the show here. I know it's not necessarily in order of the match there, but we do have all 6 matches there on the screen. Kicked off with the women's 6-person ladder match for the brand new North American Women's Championship. It's been a long time coming. The women have needed a mid-card belt, whether it be, on the main roster, which we hope we see soon, or even down in NXT. It's a good place to get it started. There's a lot of really good women on the roster there, so it's a really good chance to let some of them shine and really test how a mid-card belt's going to go. You had, obviously, on the top row, you have Michin, Last Legend, Keilani Jordan. On the bottom, Jada Parker, Sol Ruka, and Fallon Henley. Look, there was a lot of action. It was really good. You could tell that a lot of the women were going through their first ladder match. I think Michin was the only person in that match that has had previous ladder match experience. So she took a crazy bump out to the end. I really loved the Last Legend spot where they kind of gave her the monster treatment, all 5 women picking her up, which was pretty inventive. I don't know that I've ever really seen that before. So kudos to them for coming up with a spot that is not either not been done before or is not well done, where I don't think I've seen it, where they all pick her up, just kind of carry her to the end of the ring and throw her out on a ladder. So that essentially took her out, which is a good way to protect her so she doesn't look weak with everybody having to jump on her. And also she didn't have to win. Sol Ruka, I think, is a future star in this business. The double or back-to-back Soul Snatcher, one off the rope and one off the ladder, I thought was done really well. She's very athletic. The Soul Snatcher to me is kind of becoming her version of kind of like the RKO, where Randy Orton can hit it out of nowhere. She's kind of getting into that. I know she hit it off like the center middle rope the other night, a couple weeks ago. So she's actually really developing that, and it's been really good. And I'll tell you, going into this match, the person that won, Kalani Jordan, you can see kind of up there. She is the top right in the sixth person. If you're not as familiar with NXT, she ended up taking the win, hit a really cool split-legged moonsault off the top rope on Mia Yim onto a ladder, and then climbed the ladder, got the belt. And I really think that's probably kind of a surprise to most, because I don't think going into the show that she was really talked about. I think out of the 6 women there, I think she really got talked about the least. So that's kind of a surprise that she won. Not that I think it's a wrong decision. I don't think you could have gone wrong with any of the 6 of the women on there. I think they're all very talented. I think they all do really well in the ring. I think they're all growing. Even Michin, who is an experienced veteran on SmackDown with the OC and kind of going through some stuff with Nia Jax. But I really do think they're all going to be up and coming and a really great future for the main roster coming up, because these are a lot of really good young women in this division. But Kalani Jordan takes it. It's her first title in WWE. It's again the first ever women's North American title. So we'd like to see where it goes. I mean, there's a lot of open-ended stuff. I know Jada Parker and Michin are actually going to have a match on Tuesday, kind of push their stuff together. You have Fallon Henley, who could always go at her, because Kalani Jordan is a babyface, and Fallon Henley is probably one of the bigger heels in that match, so she could always come at her. But it's really cool to see where they go in the future of this, what kind of feuds come in and out going forward from the women's match. Next up, the next match in was the tag team match with the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows from SmackDown, taking on Axiom and Nathan Frazier. This is a really good match. Again, I like this one probably not quite as much as the ladder match, just because the ladder match had some different stuff in it. Not that this didn't. And shout out to the Good Brothers. They ended up losing this match. Axiom and Frazier do retain, but seeing those guys come in and just the difference of styles with the power and kind of roughness of the Good Brothers, and then the speed and quickness of Frazier and Axiom. It's a really good kind of juxtaposition of styles. Really cool spots. Again, shout out to both of those guys for making Nathan Frazier and Axiom look really good. The Spanish fly off the top rope with Anderson and Axiom, obviously that takes 2 people to hit that. So the fact that they hit that perfectly, shout out to Carl Anderson, who is getting up there. He's been around a long time, that can still do stuff like that you don't really see. And Luke Gallows, personally, I think Luke Gallows is probably one of the most underrated sellers as for a big man. I remember seeing a specific, like a tornado DDT or DDT off the top rope that he sold that made it look like it was the worst thing he'd ever had in his life. So really good for those guys to come down there, make some younger guys look really good, bring that tag title up. I don't really know where the tag titles go from there. I know AOP has kind of come down to NXT and kind of just made some havoc, but they're doing that pretty much everywhere, so they could always pop in. You've got the D'Angelo family and the No Quarter Catch crew kind of going at each other right now. Metaphor is probably going to go after Ethan Page with all the stuff that's been going on with them. So I don't know where the tag titles go. It may be good to see OTM, speaking of Jada Parker in the last match, see them maybe kind of build up and do something. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good tag teams there. We just got to focus on until, I think, Heat Wave, which is right before SummerSlam in August. So you've got some time to build up some other teams, and there are some really good teams out there to go. Next up, you had probably NXT Underground, which I think they've made that format a lot better than the Raw Underground used to be. Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice are 2 really good strikers. They both have legit MMA experience in their past, so they were going to make this look really good, and it did. And this is really the biggest point of contention for the show for me. I don't agree with the ending of the match. I don't think Lola Vice should have won. Not that I don't think Lola Vice is really good, but you've got Shayna Baszler, who is currently in a feud on the main roster trying to go for the tag team titles against Belair and Jade, and now you've got her losing to not even a mid-carder on NXT. who's just an up and comer, and you lose in a match that really should have been her specialty. Especially with them teasing beforehand that they were going to bring back the Queen of Spades, kind of that, dominant gimmick that she had back in NXT when she really got started before she got moved up to the main roster. They were kind of teasing that coming back. And I really would have liked to seen her go over on this match. I don't think it would have hurt Lola Vice to lose in a really hard match. I think it still would have given her some respect and really some movement up the card just to have a good showing and lose in it. But to have her beat Shayna just kind of stunts Shayna in I just don't believe now that her tag team is going to be able to go and defeat the tag team champions, because I just don't see, it kind of stunts that momentum that they may have had for the stuff that they've gone through. But I won't dwell too much on that. I mean, the match itself was really good. There was some confusion in there. I'm not sure why Shayna was attacking the people around the ring of the security guards. I don't know if maybe they were trying to say she was kind of loopy or knocked out or something like that. But just overall, but it was still a decent match. Probably my least favorite match on the card, oddly enough, unfortunately. But again, I still wouldn't think it was a bad match. I still think it was entertaining. Definitely better than Baszler and Ronda from a couple years ago, where she put Ronda out. And then that's another thing. I mean, this is the woman that put Ronda Rousey out of the WWE, but now can't beat Lola Vice. So just again, not my favorite match, still pretty good, but overall, I'd probably give it about a C. Next up, you've got probably my favorite match of the night, the triple threat between Wes Lee, Joe Coffey, and Obafemi. And this is my first time. If you've seen me on the other podcast that I do, Thursday Night Triple Threat with Mr. U and Air Raid Mike, shout out to those guys. I'm a huge Obafemi fan. If you've seen it on Twitter, anything like that, I love Obafemi. He's probably my favorite wrestler right now. I think the dude is going to be a megastar, and I think he showed that in this match. Just the feats of strength. Everybody's seen the video now, if you've watched it, of him throwing Wes Lee from the top rope onto Joe Coffey. That's crazy strong. Obviously, with his background, he was a shot putter in college, went to the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, built Alabama. I like it. So that doesn't hurt either. One of the reasons I'm a fan is. But, catching Wes Lee on the outside and then just tossing around. And don't overlook, they didn't really say a whole lot during the broadcast, but the ending of that match where Wes Lee jumped off the top rope, Obafemi caught him and then went into a power bomb, and then turned around and did a pop-up power bomb on Joe Coffey, who's probably $3 300 plus. It's a big dude. He's not throwing a cruiserweight up in the air and then power bombing him down. I've seen Kevin Owens do it to a few people, but to do it to somebody of that size, Obafemi is crazy good. So I think he's the future. If he doesn't main event WrestleMania in a few years, something's wrong. Obviously, Obafemi won, retained his North American Championship. Again, a great match, my favorite match of the night. Those three guys, they're all very good at what they do. Obafemi is really the youngest. He's only been in this game for maybe not even a year, probably. Wes Lee and Joe Coffey have been around. They've been in the Indies. They've been all over the place. So they're very good hands to make him look good as well. I guess that can't really go without being said. But, I mean, just, again, coming to that match, Obafemi is – send him to the main roster now. He can go to Raw or SmackDown and make an impact on either show. I just think he's that good. Following that, which following my favorite match, you've got Jordynne Grace and Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. Obviously, Jordynne Grace coming from TNA as the Knockouts champion. Huge surprise a couple weeks ago when she popped out, even though she did come out at the Royal Rumble, which was also a surprise there. That relationship with TNA and WWE/NXT is really cool to see. Some of the other crossovers that they may do. I think that's really cool. I may do a poll or something like that. We may do something on Twitter where we ask, what crossovers you guys may want, or what things you guys think would be kind of cool to see, TNA or WWE, whether it's somebody going over to TNA, and we'll get into how they tease that here in a little bit, or if it's somebody else coming from TNA over. Again, a really good match. These two are really good professional wrestlers. I don't think they were going to put on a bad match. So definitely give it an A. I liked it. I know there was kind of a messy spot where Jordynne Grace was bleeding earlier. Her earring had actually got ripped out of her ear, which looked nastier than I'm sure it probably was. I'm sure it hurt like hell. But I remember seeing like on Roxanne's fishnets, you could see something shiny and you kind of look and it's like, wait a minute, that's Jordynne Grace's earring. No wonder her ear is bleeding like crap. So, but power to her for continuing on, finishing that match. Obviously wrestlers do it all the time, and that's probably a minor injury compared to a lot of things that you've seen finish matches. But even still, it had to hurt. She's bleeding all over the place. So good on them for not letting that affect their match. Still a really cool match. The ending sequence, I didn't really like the interference. I get it. You don't want Jordynne Grace to lose clean and TNA to look bad in their first real kind of outing in this venture. I get the Tatum Paxley thing. I really like the Tatum Paxley character where she is obsessed with gold and wants to touch every belt. She even made a comment. She posted something to Twitter for Kalani Jordan after she won the NXT North American Women's Championship, kind of teasing that as well. So I get that. And she's kind of been in and out on previous episodes with both of them, teasing that kind of thing. The part I don't get is the Ash by Elegance coming out, formerly Dana Brooke. I do like how they teased that, how Vic Joseph kind of came out and said, oh, it's Dana Brooke. Oh, wait, no, it's Ash by Elegance, kind of showing, hey, she was here, but now she's not, and she's somebody else. So that was kind of cool. But I get it. I spoke earlier that we're going to watch some more TNA, and this is where my TNA ignorance will come in. I don't know if she's in a feud with her right now, so maybe that would make more sense if I knew that. But not knowing that, I thought it would have been really cool because they had showed earlier, and I've seen pictures that Gail Kim, who is a Hall of Famer in TNA, was in the crowd. I thought it would have been really cool for, say, her to jump the barricade as Tatum Paxley's kind of running away, let her kick her, let her go after her just to kind of show solidarity between Jordynne Grace and the rest of TNA and the knockouts. And then maybe Jordynne Grace being distracted by what's going on, still turn around, still have the same finish. But I just, again, with not knowing the TNA storyline as well as I probably should, I don't get the Ash by Elegance, and you had a perfect alternative there in Gail Kim, who would have been a huge pop if she'd have jumped out, because everybody knows Gail Kim, if you know wrestling. Obviously, the Hall of Fame TNA, she used to be in WWE. So I just think that would have been a cooler spot. Again, not that I have anything against Ash by Elegance / Dana Brooke. I don't get it because I don't know their storyline. I mean, that could have very well made sense in their scheme of things on that show, which I need to catch up on. But Roxanne Perez did win. She is still your NXT champion, and there's a lot of ways you can go with this. I mean, she's got a lot of contenders that will come after her. Obviously, she's a heel. You could always go with a heel dynamic and let Fallon Henley come after her. You can go with a good heel face and let, we were talking about Sol Ruca in the first match, where I think she's going to be a superstar at some point. You can let her go out. That would be a good place at Heatwave because she has kind of the surfer gimmick. She's a good baby face. That would be good to plug her in against Roxanne at that point. But you also have Wendy Chu coming back, who you saw some of the vignettes for on the show. But looks like she's going to be a heel as well. So I don't know if they're going to let her maybe go after Kalani being a babyface and have the North American title first, or if they're going to go straight in, because I know Wendy Chu and Roxanne have some history from back when when Wendy Chu was there before she got hurt or before she took her leave or whatever. So there's a lot of different ways you can go with that, especially heading into Heatwave in a couple of months. So we'll have to see there. And finally, you had the main event, Trick Williams going up against All Ego Ethan Page in his very first match on WWE or on NXT. At least that they've billed it. I don't know if he was there before he went to AEW. He has been in AEW for the past few years. Just kind of swapped over. Huge surprise a couple of weeks ago when he came out and showed that he has been, the one beating up people that were trying to get after the title. He kind of explained himself why he beat up Noam Dar and or Mensa, just because they were kind of going after Trick and he wanted that spot first. Really good heel kind of tactics going in there. It's the right decision. Trick doesn't need to lose yet. I mean, he's got too much momentum coming out of his feud with Carmelo Anthony and a couple of matches he's had since. I think it'll be really good for him to go into Heatwave as the champion. I don't think this is obviously the end for All Ego Ethan Page. I think he's going to work back up. They may come have a rematch at Heatwave where Ego takes it. but I don't know how long they want to keep him in NXT or if they want to move him to the main roster because he does have a lot of big experience in AEW. But Trick Williams does win after a little bit of interference. All Ego kind of arguing with the ref a little bit over some stuff, kind of showing his ego, not focusing on the match where he needs to. Trick Williams takes advantage, hits the knee, gets the pin, and celebrates after the fact and retains. So there's a lot of stuff going in there. A lot of really cool stuff to look forward for in NXT going forward. I mentioned a few matches that you have coming up. There's a lot of good young people coming. There was a lot of vignettes for some people. We're supposed to be getting some people back from injuries coming up. So there's really a lot of good stuff coming to NXT in the near future as we build up to Heat Wave, which is obviously the pre-show for SummerSlam. That's 2 months away. So there's probably about anywhere between 6 to 8 shows, I believe. I'd have to look and see the exact number. But just overall, I think there's a lot of good stuff coming and a lot of good stuff to watch and find out. Speaking of that's our show for the night. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys made it this far and listened to me talk this much, I really appreciate you hanging in there with me. Again, please, I'm learning how to do this, so please forgive any mix-ups, mess-ups that I may have had during the episode because I have been nervous as hell. Anybody that knows me, you can ask anybody that I've talked to that I have put this off because of just being nervous of being in front of a camera with a microphone in my face, talking for what has now been about 22 minutes. So please, 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 if you've watched it, I appreciate it. If you've got feedback, I would love to hear it. Again, at _BigMike27, Twitter, YouTube, please go subscribe so we can start doing live. And I'd love to hear your feedback and questions, right then and there live going as we speak. But I've wanted to do this for a long time. I really enjoy it. I love wrestling and I want to do a good job for you guys. I want to put out good content. I want to put out quality stuff. And I'll get there. If you give me the chance, check in with me, subscribe. I promise we'll get better. We'll try to be 1% better every day, kind of as they say. But yeah, I really appreciate all the support and everything that led me to this point. So with that, we will say have a good night. And thank you for tuning in. Have a great night.